Story 1. The small pepper-shaped item that hangs off most pin cushions is filled with emery powder to help clean and sharpen your pins and needles. Story 2. Some truck beds have indented slots on the sides, allowing you to place 2x6 boards across the bed to section it off and prevent items from sliding around. Story 3. Nearly all dishwashers have a filter, usually located at the bottom, that can be removed and cleaned. If you have a dishwasher and are not familiar with the filter, it likely needs cleaning. Story 4. If your car key gets stuck in the ignition, which is a safety feature to prevent removal if the transmission isn't in park, look for a small plastic or rubber ring around the ignition. Pry it away from the lock, and you will find a small button underneath. That button is the manual key release. Story 5. The metal part at the end of your tape measure is not loose. It is designed to move slightly to ensure you always get the correct measurement, whether you are measuring from an inside edge or an outside edge. Story 6. If you enter the Konami code into the Fisher-Price Baby video game controller toy, it produces a special sound effect and informs you that you have won. The code is up, up, down, down, left, right, B-A. Story 7. When working with spreadsheets, the Tab key moves you to the next cell, while Shift plus Tab moves you back. I was working in a grocery store where they were teaching me how to complete the end-of-night spreadsheets. When I entered a wrong number, I tabbed to the next cell. "Great," said my boss. "Now you've got to hold down Tab for about 10 minutes to go all the way around and get back to that cell." I looked at her and hit Shift plus Tab. Her jaw dropped. For those asking why she didn't just point and click on the cell, this was 20 years ago. It was outdated software custom-built for our chain of stores. It was DOS-based, with all entries made via the keyboard and no mouse. Story 8. For Microsoft Windows users, if you need to copy and paste more than one part of a text, or if you want to paste something that was copied some time ago, hold the Windows button and press V instead of Control plus V. It will show you a list of recently copied texts and pictures that you can paste. Story 9. If you own a Windows computer, do this from time to time, especially if it is behaving oddly and a reboot doesn't seem to fix the issue. 1. Run Command Prompt or PowerShell as administrator. The easiest way is to right-click the Start button and select it. Type in the following command and press Enter. sfc/scan now. 3. Let it run and look at the results. I work in information technology, and this fixes a range of problems. I have no idea why Windows isn't set up to run this automatically in the background occasionally. Story 10. You can turn the standby light off on televisions. I like to sleep in complete darkness and spent years covering the light with an object until I learned that there was a setting to turn it off. Story 11. Many microwaves have an option to turn off the sounds. If you think this would be useful, the manual will provide instructions on how to do this. Story 12. If you're annoyed by cashiers asking for your number, or if you need a number for a discount, you can always use Jenny's number with your area code, 867-5309. There's usually an account already set up for it. Story 13. Potato peelers have a notch to help remove the areas that your peeler misses, ensuring you do not waste any potato while peeling. Story 14. Your cell phone has a smaller, more discreet speaker that you can hold to your head without using speakerphone. Story 15. Most wheelbarrows can be flipped backward onto their handles to create a comfortable chair for break time. Story 16. Some vehicles have extendable sun visors. This amazed my friend when I extended the visor in their truck to block the sun that the visor otherwise didn't reach. Story 17. Spiderwebs have coagulant properties. If someone has a laceration and puts spiderweb on it, it will stop the bleeding. My grandmother was a Seminole Indian. She knew important information like that. Story 18. Some cars will roll all the windows down if you put your key in the door and hold it in the unlock position. The same goes for the locking position. It will roll them up, which is handy if you forgot to roll one up. Story 19. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but the little black slider on the lid of Yeti mugs is magnetic. Comes completely off the lid, allowing you to wash all the nooks and crannies. I only discovered this after accidentally dropping the lid once, and it flew off. I spent years washing around that little black piece. I felt so foolish. Story 20. This should be common knowledge, but people still seem to miss it. Most toasters come with a removable tray that collects crumbs for easier cleaning. The paper sauce holders in McDonald's peel open to create a larger sauce tray for easier dipping and a better sauce-to-surface ratio. Story 21. Not sure if it's only people around me who tend not to know this, but for most vacuums, you should be able to rotate the top hook that holds the cable 180 degrees to remove the wire coil all at once instead of having to unwind the entire thing. Story 22. Kraft Parmesan cheese lids that screw on also fit on mason jars. Side-by-side refrigerators do not have enough space, so we keep a small mason jar of the cheese inside with the larger container in a garage refrigerator. Story 23. Aluminum foil comes on a roll in a box. At the ends of the box are triangular cutouts that you are meant to push in, forming a spindle for the roll to rotate on. Story 24. The cap on disposable pepper grinders can be left on to hold and transport the ground pepper while also preventing steam from entering the grinder. Story 25. On gas station pumps that advertise while you fill up your vehicle, there are buttons on each side of the screen. Pressing the second button from the top on the right side will mute the speaker. Is this something that only happens in the United States? Story 26. The star symbol next to one of the floors on the elevator button panel indicates the floor that leads you to the street. Story 27. If someone walks into your space and you don't want them to see the stuff on your screen, all you have to do is hold down the Windows key and tap the letter L. It immediately gives you the lock screen. You might have your Cayman Islands bank accounts open or something else. Story 28. Most staplers have a hole on the side that allows you to see if you are running low on staples, so you don't have to dry fire or open it to check. On swingline staplers, the staple pusher is copper-colored, making it stand out through the hole. Story 29. The clear section at the end of a lipstick tube that shows the color can be removed. It is filled with more lipstick. Story 30. If your car has a memory driver's seat, there is a good chance it ties the setting to a specific key fob. This way, you and your partner can each have your own key fob that automatically adjusts to your settings when you get in the car. Story 31. Before I say this, I realize you can use basically anything to do this, but Moroccan ramen cups have a cardboard cover designed to be removed and flipped upside down. There are little slits to fit the edges of the cup in to hold down the lid while it cooks. It's unnecessary because you can use anything, like the fork you'll eat it with. However, it fits the topic. Story 32. I don't know about other phones, but Apple phones have a neat typing feature. If you hold down the spacebar, you can gently slide to other parts of the message if you make a typo. It is much easier than trying to manually go back in the message. Story 33. If you hold the right button on your Casio F91W wristwatch for 3 seconds, the word Casio appears on the screen. You're welcome. Story 34. I didn't always know that most dish brushes have a scraping edge on the top. I found it pretty useful when I discovered this. Story 35. Some tent bags have a removable strip of fabric on the bottom that creates extra space for repacking the tent when removed. Story 36. Cars have a neat button that signals nearby people which direction you intend to go before you move. Story 37. On many X-Acto knives or box cutters, the butt end of the handle is removable and has a slot cut into it. This feature is used to break off the tip of the blade when it becomes dull. Story 38. On the hatch of your gas tank, there is a hook for the cord or a place to put the gas cap to keep it from dangling and scratching your car while you fill up. Story 39. The Instant Pot handle on the body fits the lid handle. You can place the lid handle onto the body handle so you don't have to place the wet, dirty lid on the counter. Story 40. The best ice cream spoon is a vintage shortening spoon that works wonderfully. Additionally, the handle hole serves as an excellent bottle cap opener. Story 41. Your cell phone can connect to headphones, allowing those around you to enjoy peace and quiet. Story 42. Holding down the PlayStation button on your PlayStation 4 controller for about 10 seconds turns off the controller without shutting down the console. This is useful for downloading games or watching a movie while conserving the controller's battery. Story 43. I'm not sure about other car makes, But if you use the key to manually unlock your driver's door on a Toyota, turning it a second time will unlock all the doors. Story 44. Many dishwasher front panels are color reversible. Unscrew and slide out the front panel, then flip it over to change the color. Check the instructions online or contact the manufacturer for guidance, and always disconnect power first for safety. Typically, the panel flips from white to black, but there may be other hidden color combinations as well. This allows the manufacturer to ship units in the color that was ordered. Story 45. Swiping the horizontal line at the bottom of your iPhone left or right while an app is open allows you to switch between frequently used apps. Story 46. Most modern European windows have a third setting called gap ventilation. It is a setting between tilting and fully opening the window, allowing for a tiny gap. This feature is extremely useful if you have a pet, but nearly no one knows about it. Story 47. Most prescription bottles with child-proof lids have a second set of threads, allowing you to flip the lid over and screw it on normally without the annoying child-proof feature. Story 48. If you need to open a tube of ointment, screw the cap off and turn it around. There is usually a pointed cone built into the top to puncture the seal of the ointment. Story 49. Cars have an arrow on the gas tank icon that indicates which side has the refueling hatch. Story 50. Most garbage disposals can be reset easily if they stop working. There is a red button under the disposal device that you can press to reset it. Story 51. Hairbrushes often have a small ball at the end of the handle. When you pull that ball, it pops out to reveal a stick. This stick is used for cleaning hair from your hairbrush, and then it easily pops back into the handle. Story 52. Automatic vehicles have the option to switch to a lower gear, allowing you to avoid continuously pressing the brakes while descending a steep or long hill. Story 53. Window restrictors found in many hotels have a button on the hinge that allows you to fully open the window. Story 54. You can use advanced search techniques to find PDFs, Word documents, presentations, and more, even if they are not linked on the website. I have discovered many court records this way. I also found a presentation created by a coworker 15 years ago when they were employed by a different company. Story 55. There is a small knob on the base of a combination square. You can unscrew it to access a scribe, which is arguably better than a pencil. I find that they tend to loosen and disappear over time, but they are great when available. Story 56. Almost all name-brand kitchen faucets have a free replacement parts policy. There is no shipping fee. Story 57. Many large appliances, like washing machines, have a diagnostic mode where you can test every mechanical function of the device for faults. Depending on the issue and model you have, you can theoretically fix a problem without calling an expensive repair technician. Story 58. If you are copying and pasting and the original text has unusual fonts or formatting that you do not want to transfer to your document, you can paste without formatting by pressing Shift and Control and V instead of just Control and V. This will paste in plain text using the font you are currently using. Before I learned this, I would use Control and V on Notepad to eliminate the formatting and then cut and paste that onto my document. Story 59. There is a 2-volume treatise written on the various features of a framing square. You can do much more than you think with that tool. Story 60. On an Apple phone, if you text yourself a flight number, tapping the number will reveal flight information. I'm not sure if it works with WhatsApp, but for text messages, it works great. Story 61. Some Swiss Army knives come with a small flexible pin hidden under the corkscrew that can be used as a fishing hook. Story 62. Sharpen your kitchen knives using the bottom of a ceramic mug as a whetstone. It works well when dry too. I have been doing this for years. Story 63. The area between the handles of scissors is used to open bottles. When we first started dating, I amazed my wife by using scissors to open a soda bottle that was screwed on very tightly. Story 64. On Ford Fusions, if you press the lock or unlock button twice and hold it on the second press, it will roll down and roll up all the windows, including the sunroof if the vehicle has one. Story 65. Most caulking guns have a hole near the handle that can be used to cut the tip of the caulking tube. Story 66. Babies' clothes. The neck hole flaps are not for some sort of weird baby-style points. They are to allow the garment to be pulled down over the shoulders and off the legs in the event of a diaper disaster. When a cousin told me this over a year into our experience, she was like, right? She was excited to share this because she had just learned it and didn't know herself, even though her kids are both out of college. Almost every new parent I talk to now, I ask if they want a couple of tips. 2 important things no one told us and that we didn't read anywhere. This is the first. Not that I talk to that many new parents, but so far the score is 7 out of 8 who didn't know. Story 67. Toast is done, but you can't reach it. Lift up on the small toast plunger. It will raise the toast another inch or two. Story 68. Some brands of mustard squeeze bottles allow you to snap the flip top in an open position so it does not get in the way when dispensing. Story 69. If you are in the United States and in a state where you need to fill your own gas, most of the displays have buttons on the side that you can press to mute the advertisements coming from the panel. I learned this from someone writing in permanent marker who was pointing at the mute button. Story 70. Top drawers in dishwashers can drop down to accommodate taller glasses. They are typically in the upright position when new and can be lowered using lever tabs on the sides of the drawer. Story 71. If you do not like something you read, you can scroll past instead of commenting with your opinion. Story 72. The slots on the front of your chop saw's blade guard allow you to see directly above the blade and align the cut target. Instead of looking around the side, you can look through the guard to position the target cut. It may be challenging to adjust at first, as reprogramming old habits can be difficult. Story 73. Microwaves can lower their power levels to ensure that the middle of your food isn't cold while the plate remains hot. Enter the required time and locate the button labeled Power on the top row of buttons. Then press 7 for 70% power. This setting allows the food to reheat for a longer duration at a lower temperature, cooking the inside without scalding your hand on the plate. Story 74. My remote control has a hidden compartment that can hold 2 AA batteries or a small amount of cannabis. Story 75. Crush an OXO cube as you would a garlic clove. Then tear open a corner of its aluminum packaging to pour it into a cup of hot water to dissolve quickly. Story 76. The box on my new brush indicated that it includes a small brush with long pins in the handle, which can be used to remove hairs from the larger brush. It turns out my old brush had that feature as well. I just never realized it. Story 77. You can do multiples of 9 with your fingers from 9 to 90. For example, 9 times 2. Tuck your left ring finger in. You now have 1 pinky and 8 fingers extended, which equals 18. 9 times 5. Tuck your left thumb in. That's 4 fingers on the left hand and 5 on the right, which equals 45. Continue this pattern. Story 78. The little handles on the side of your steering column are blinkers or indicators. They alert other drivers to the direction you are about to change. Additional tip. If you see a bright blue icon in your dashboard at nighttime, your high beams are on. Story 79. Google Lens is an application that can find information about unusual objects using just a picture. I used it to locate the missing lid for my 100-year-old uranium glass sugar bowl. I showed my dad how to use it, and he is always looking up prices of items at flea markets. Story 80. Your iPhone can read text in Photos. Open a photo in either the Photos app or the Messages app. After a moment, a text icon will appear in the bottom right corner. Touch that icon to highlight the text in the photo. From here, you can select the text and copy it into any other app you prefer. I thought this was common knowledge, but I keep telling friends who I consider tech-savvy, and they are always amazed to discover this. Story 81. Control-V pastes, while Control-Shift-V pastes the text and formatting. Control-Shift-T also reopens a Windows tab you have accidentally closed. Story 82. When you start your car with the air conditioning on, it will default to the fresh air setting. Let it blow like that for a couple of minutes until you start getting cool air, then switch to recycled air. Your ride will be much colder. Story 83. If you are using spice shakers, such as those for salt and pepper in restaurants or cinnamon and nutmeg in espresso cafes, and they have bumpy or ridged bottoms, you can take a second shaker and rub the bottoms together in circles. This technique will help the spices flow evenly and consistently from the shaker you are using. As a barista, this makes applying cinnamon on top of lattes much easier. Story 84. On a PC, pressing the Windows key along with the directional arrow key snaps the window to full screen, up, minimizes the window down, or places it in the left half, left, or right half, right? You can also use two directions to position the window in quadrants, such as upper left, Windows key plus left plus up. Story 85. It took someone else loading our dishwasher to learn that there is a third, upper level of plastic mesh for small and heat-sensitive items we never knew about. The front of it, where you grasp, looks just like the rest of the dishwasher. Check yours. Story 86. Most cars have a secret compartment to store sunglasses, usually on the ceiling in front of the sun visors in the middle. Recent Toyota Sequoias have 5 for some reason. The side panel of your car door indicates the recommended tire pressure. The trunk or back of your car has a pull mechanism that allows you to open the gas tank in case the switch in the front of the car doesn't work. Next to the odometer on your dashboard, there is a small silhouette of a gas pump with an arrow that indicates which side is used to fill the gas tank. Story 87. Foil tubes for glue, ointment, paint, and similar substances often have a small plastic spike on the inside of the cap to puncture the foil seal of the tube. Story 88. Rubbing alcohol can be used to remove tough stains from your white quartz, marble, and granite counters. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.